Two brothers, two opposing instincts, and a rivalry that would go on to reshape sport, culture, and modern marketing. The story begins in the early 1920s in Herzogenaurach, Germany, just a few years after the end of the First World War. The country was broken, inflation was out of control, jobs were scarce, and an entire generation was growing up surrounded by frustration and uncertainty. In that environment grew up Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. They shared the same house, the same hardships, but very different personalities. Adolf Dassler, known as Adi, was quiet and inward-looking. He was obsessed with how things worked. He spent hours experimenting with materials, adjusting shapes, and watching how athletes moved. To Adi, performance was a technical problem waiting to be solved. Rudolf Dassler was the opposite. Charismatic, ambitious, and confrontational, he understood people instinctively. He knew how to persuade, negotiate, and sell. Where Adi saw a shoe, Rudolf saw a business opportunity. At first, those differences made them stronger. In the early 1920s, Adi began making sports shoes in his mother's laundry room. He was not thinking about fashion or mass production. His goal was simple: help athletes perform better. Rudolf soon joined him, taking charge of sales, distribution, and expansion. Together, they founded the Dassler Shoe Company. Their first real breakthrough came when sport entered the equation. During the 1920s, the Dassler brothers began producing specialized footwear for athletes. At the time, most competitors wore generic shoes. Adi believed that was a mistake. He was convinced that the right shoe could make the difference between winning and losing. That belief led them to a calculated risk. In the early 1930s, the brothers began supplying shoes directly to elite athletes, often at no cost, in exchange for visibility. It was not common practice, but Adi understood something crucial. If the best athletes trusted his shoes, others would follow. That strategy reached its peak in 1936. At the Berlin Olympic Games, American sprinter Jesse Owens competed wearing Dassler shoes. Owens did not wear them by chance. The brothers had approached him, offered custom-built footwear, and convinced him of their performance advantage. Owens went on to win 4 gold medals. In the heart of Nazi Germany, a black athlete became the face of the Games, wearing German-made shoes. For the Dassler brothers, the message was unmistakable. Their product worked, sport could be global marketing, and visibility could change everything. But success also intensified tensions. As the company grew, so did the arguments. Control, leadership, direction. Nothing was ever fully resolved. Then history intervened again. The Second World War changed everything. Germany entered the war, and the Dassler factory fell under state control. Sports shoe production stopped. The factory was ordered to manufacture military components. Like most businessmen who wanted to survive, both brothers joined the Nazi Party. But the war deepened their personal conflict. Rudolf was drafted into the army and later arrested by Allied forces. He spent time in a prisoner of war camp. During that period, resentment hardened into bitterness. Rudolf believed Adi had protected the factory and himself while leaving him exposed. He even suspected that his brother had played a role in his arrest. Adi saw things very differently. He believed survival required caution, that Rudolf's aggressive behavior had endangered the company, that someone had to protect what they had built. They never confronted these suspicions directly. They never cleared the air. By the end of the war, trust was gone. And then came the break. In 1948, the Dassler brothers split for good. Adi founded Adidas, combining his nickname and surname. Rudolf founded Puma, choosing a name that symbolized speed, aggression, and instinctive attack. The separation was absolute. Employees chose sides. Families stopped speaking. Business relationships fractured. From that moment on, Adidas and Puma were no longer just competitors. They were enemies. Adi focused obsessively on product innovation. One of his key ideas was simple but powerful: the 3 stripes. Originally designed as functional reinforcements on the shoe, they soon became a recognizable symbol of performance and identity. In the early years, Adidas clearly took the lead. Adi worked closely with athletes, refining designs and solving practical problems. His defining moment came in 1954. The World Cup final pitted West Germany against Hungary, led by Ferenc Puskás. Hungary had been undefeated for years. They were considered unstoppable. That night, rain poured relentlessly. The pitch turned into mud. Adi made a decisive technical choice. He equipped the German team with boots featuring screw-in studs, allowing players to adjust their grip to the conditions. Hungary could not adapt. Against all expectations, Germany won. That match became known as the Miracle of Bern, and Adidas became synonymous with victory. For Germany, it was redemption. For Adidas, it was proof that engineering could change history. Years later, that mindset still defined the brand. Even as marketing evolved and budgets exploded, Adidas continued to believe that performance came first. Puma never abandoned its own instinct. It kept betting on moments, on boldness, on cultural shifts others were slow to see. That contrast is why the rivalry survived long after the brothers were gone. Rudolf chose a different path. He became one of the first to openly pay athletes to wear a brand, a practice that was widely criticized at the time. While Adidas focused on teams, federations, and institutions, Puma focused on individuals and moments. By the early 1960s, Adidas dominated institutional sport. That shift became visible in 1968. The Mexico City Olympic Games took place during a period of global unrest. Civil rights movements, political protests, cultural transformation. When athletes raised their fists in the Black Power salute, the image traveled around the world. Sport was no longer neutral. It had become political, cultural. Puma-aligned athletes were part of that moment, not by accident, but by philosophy. The rivalry reached its most iconic moment in 1970. Puma signed Pelé, the most famous footballer on the planet. Just before kickoff in the World Cup final, Pelé stopped, bent down, and slowly tied his boots. He did it deliberately, for the cameras, for the world to see Puma. It became one of the most influential marketing moments in sports history. Over time, both brands evolved. Adidas expanded beyond the stadium. Shoes like the Superstar and iconic tracksuits crossed into street culture and hip-hop, turning sportswear into everyday fashion. Puma leaned further into lifestyle, blending sport, culture, and identity. New competitors emerged. Nike changed the rules entirely. Yet the rivalry endured. Today, Adidas represents structure, legacy, and performance. Puma represents speed, boldness, and cultural agility. Both were born from the same family. Both achieved greatness. Both made mistakes, and the rivalry never truly ended. Two brothers, two brands, one conflict driven by pride. And now we want to hear from you. Which side are you on? Adidas or Puma? For our next video, what story would you like us to tell about success, failure, and power? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoy our content, don't forget to give it a like.